New York Jets 30, Washington Commanders 28.
Trevor Siemian, baby.
I mean, full disclosure, I had to pick my spots as to where my focus was on Sunday at 1. And not only was this game, nothing except for draft position as far as what was on the line, it also was 20-0 at one point. So my focus waned. And then the Commanders came back and almost had a chance to win. Or they took the lead 28-27 late in the fourth. And then Greg the Leg, 54-yard field goal, 10 seconds left to give the Jets the 30-28 victory.
Utterly ridiculous game. Like, it started off and everything that could have possibly gone wrong for Washington went wrong in the first couple of minutes. And they're buried in a hole. They're down, multiple scores, 3 scores. And you're like, wow, this game's done, Next. And then, Sam Howell has just completely fallen off a cliff over the second half of the season. A couple of interceptions. Forget the interceptions. Just wasn't making plays.
The interceptions, he didn't play well, but those weren't necessarily even his fault on him. But everything else has been just bad.
Everything was
negative
bad.
Plays.
He just wasn't making any positive contribution to the team, to the offense whatsoever. And they bench him for Jacoby Brissett, who then actually does make an impact, start moving the ball and having some success. The Jets defense was starting to give them some plays, and then somehow, again, turnovers and crazy things. Like Trevor Siemian can't handle a high snap. But it was, one most quarterbacks would bring in, you would say.
I would have caught it.
Yeah, you would definitely would have caught it.
Thank you.
At least it would have hit you in the face. And
I could be an NFL QB.
Then you would have had a chance from there. That gave Washington the ball for a touchdown. Just a weird game. And then eventually the Jets ended up getting it when they needed to. But late in the game, you're looking at this, you're like, how is this a game? This was dead after the first quarter, and somehow it's live now.
Breece Hall with a nice game for the Jets, had a 36-yard touchdown showing that big playability, getting back to showing that big playability, and then a beautiful, it was like a 2 or 3 yard run, which was just outstanding.
Was it a 1 yard run? It was one of the greatest 1 yard runs ever.
Yeah.
It was a 1 yard touchdown run where he beat 2 guys and then did the T. Higgins thing where he spun back around with the ball to get it over the line as he's falling out of bounds.
Such a good play. And then he also had 12 catches for 96 yards. So much of the game flow doesn't make sense here. So if I told you the Jets are going to be up 20-0 and they have Trevor Siemian at quarterback, you'd say, okay, they're going to, not drop back a whole lot. Simeon's going to have 20 dropbacks. He dropped back over 50 times in this game.
He also had, did you see, he had a 25-yard intentional grounding penalty because it was one of those plays where he got himself into so much trouble behind the line of scrimmage that Trevor Siemian no longer had the arm to get it back to the line of scrimmage from the situation he found himself in.
Yeah.
It was just, they threw the flag. You're like, that's bad. That's bad quarterbacking play right there.
Yeah, it was not great. So from a Commander's perspective, there's a couple things at play that I'm looking at here. So the stat line for Sam Howell needs to be read, unfortunately. Sam Howell finishes 6 of 22 for 56 yards and 2 picks. Also got sacked once for a negative, for 13-yard loss. Passer rating of 1.7 in this game. Jacoby Brissett comes in, and for the second straight week, I believe it was, right? Jacoby Brissett looks good.
Yeah.
After Sam Howell looks not good. 10 of 13 for 100 yards and a touchdown for Brissett. Hit a nice throw to Logan Thomas on the skinny post for a touchdown. So Brissett's been outplaying Sam Howell in relief outings in recent weeks. To me, the most interesting thing, if you're a Commanders or a Jets fan, is the draft position, of course. The Commanders are now sitting at number 3 in the draft order. And I do think the way Sam Howell has played in the presumption that there'll be a new regime, they're going to be in the market for a quarterback, I think, now. That has really switched, in my mind, over the last few weeks. Again, not that Sam Howell was a slam dunk, but they'd at least consider it, And then the Jets, if you're really, Roger said he's going to come back and he's going to bring his whole coaching staff back because he's running the show. If you're the Jets, you're probably in the market for a left tackle. You're now sitting, with the win, the Jets are now sitting at 9 in the draft order. Had they been sitting at 5 or 6, which they would be in that mix, they would be looking at maybe a Joe Alt from Notre Dame, Olu Fashanu from Penn State. The Jets might be losing out on their top left tackle here come draft time. So that's my biggest takeaway coming out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Sam Howell thing has been really disappointing, I think, from a Washington point of view. Like it's not like he was playing great to start the season, but there was the stuff he was wildly inconsistent. So there was a lot of good, and then the stuff that he was bad at felt like it could be improved upon. And he actually has improved on some of the stuff that was his worst traits earlier in the season, but it's come at the cost of all of the good stuff disappearing. Like he was leading the league in big time throws for a period of time deep into the season. And okay, he was throwing more than any other quarterback in the NFL, so that's part of it. But his big time throw rate was very high as well. He's had 3 of his last 5 games have had none, and one of the other ones has had 1. So in 4 of the last 5 games, he's only had 1 big time throw or less. So all of the good that he was bringing to the table has just evaporated. And he's still got the negative that he's bringing to the table as well. So now you're just looking at a guy who went in the 5th round and is somehow starting games in the NFL.
Yeah, man. There's it's more decisions for Washington, and I think the last few weeks maybe make it easier for them going forward.